What's going on, everybody? Power Metal Ranger here, back at you again. Welcome to another Ranger Talk episode. And today I have joining me the legendary Emil from Lastera. Recently released their debut album. What's up, man? How's it going?
Thanks, man. I'm doing good. I wouldn't say legendary, but thanks for the that's very nice. Maybe in a few years.
Well, it's all about the alliteration, you know. Legendary Lastera, it just rolls off the
Ah,
tongue.
oh
So
yeah,
there you
those
go.
I kind of that went over my head then. Okay,
No,
that's a good start.
no. So how's it going over there in Denmark, right?
Doing very well. We have some nice weather these days. It's still cold, but it's turning around. You can kind of feel the spring in the air, so that's nice. So yeah, we're just waiting for the summer and some warmer weather and all that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So I guess, my first question is super basic and simple, but the name Lastera,
Yeah.
where does that come from?
Well, basically, it's just last and era put together. There's
Oh,
no deeper meaning behind it. We were riffing around with names for what seems like an eternity, like months and months and months, and we couldn't find anything that would really stick. But then we just landed on it. It was like, that's cool. Let's go with it. And yeah, it works. It works. We went on a Fallion for a short time, and we kind of accepted that. But everyone kept making a phallus penis jokes, so we just
right.
yeah, fuck that.
As
Let's
people will do.
yeah, exactly. With your friend group and all that being 12 years mentally, so that's that.
Right. Yeah, no, you don't want that.
No, no penises,
No, no, we'll keep that out of it.
even though it is power
Lastera
metal.
works great.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So, how did you guys even form up? How did you guys kind of all come together and with the goal in mind to create this group?
Well, back in 2015, I wrote a bunch of songs, and I thought, well, let's record an album. But I didn't have a band, so I needed people to do their part because I played the drums, and that's basically all I do. I can't sing, and I don't play the guitar. So I just went around Facebook and mutual friends and whatnot, people, and then we kind of got together loosely, and we did the parts, and we were like, let's form a band. And then we wanted to do a second album, which we started on in 2016. But it kind of went nowhere, and there was a lot of disagreements within the band, and we had to shuffle around some members. So Downfall died, and then we started over with this new album as Lastera. So it's kind of a reboot, and that's also where the title of the album comes from the ashes. It's all about rebirth and starting over and erasing the past and all that. So yeah,
Very cool.
it's
So
that.
it's kind of evolution. It was built upon what you guys had already kind of
Yeah,
started years back.
exactly. And it's kind of a refinement of what we really wanted to do initially, and we were just so inexperienced and new and young, and we didn't know what we were doing. So this time around, we did our homework. We got a proper album cover made. We did some pictures. We did all the proper arrangements before releasing the album, and I believe those arrangements is part of the reason why you heard about it. For instance, it's so widespread now that it actually worked. It's not just on YouTube or Spotify. It's people are actually listening to it, and that's
Right.
nice, because the first album we did with Downfall, that really didn't do much, because we were just like, okay, it's done, onto the internet, and that was kind of that, just holding our breaths, but nothing happened.
Yeah,
So yeah, so it's a learning process and a learning experience and all that. So
of
we're very
course.
happy about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the sound, like on the album. There's really such a variety of sound.
Hmm.
There's at times like almost like a epic cinematic kind of scope to it, and then other
Hmm.
times like from the Comfort of Shade, which is the song that I actually reacted to that
Hmm.
really took me off guard. And anyone who saw that reaction knows that afterwards I had to, while on camera, which I never do, I had to look up to see where you guys were from.
mm,
because there was such a almost like a Latin or Mediterranean influence
mm,
in that song. So there's just such a variety. So
mm.
how do you approach like every song? You know, where does some of those influences come from?
I think the overall epicness on the overall scope of things, that's just the extension of I wanted to do something that was, you know, almost cinematic, and like it's inspired from both power metal and movie scores from Hollywood movies like Lord of the Rings and all that. So that epic giantness, is that even a word? And then you combine it with the guitars and the drums. So it's not a new concept. It's not breaking any grounds, but I wanted some power metal that wasn't all about the fantasy and, you know, the 8 minutes of soloing and all that. It's more about the melodies. And yeah, because I've been listening to Dragon Force forever. When I was
Right.
17, and I discovered that, and all my in my 20s, that was all I listened to almost. But I got so tired of all the guitar noodling that was a
Yeah.
constant, and is a constant in the genre in general. So it was more about the themes and the orchestrations and the nice melody harmonies and all that. But I don't know where the inspiration comes from, you know, song to song. It just kind of happens. It sounds a bit pretentious, but as you talked about Comfort of Shade, the whole Spanish flair,
Yeah.
that wasn't an intention, just sort of happened. You know, when you add an accordion to the mix, it just sounds like a Spanish folk song all of a sudden. And yeah, just kind of happened.
Well, that's so cool that you guys are like just super open to just whatever. It's not like, oh no, that's not our sound. It's like
Mm,
you know, there you make it your sound in a
mm.
sense, even though it's a bit different from other songs.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, the production is the same, and you can clearly tell the vocals are the same, but I suppose the underlying music is just has a slightly different vibe to it. And yeah, it's boring listening to an album where all the songs are the same. Speaking of Dragon Force, uh,
Hey, this the name of your song is Comfort of Shade, not Throwing Shade. So
yeah,
that's
I'm too old for that. I'm sorry. Such a bad habit. Yeah. Um, yeah, I think the most pure power metal song we have on the album is "Running on Fumes." That has that whole with the guitars and the tempo and all that. But I don't really consider us a pure power metal band in that it's not there's not enough dragons basically, in a nutshell. And we really wanted to take distance from the whole fantasy element of the genre and be about the castles and slaying the dragons and the trolls in the dungeons and blah blah blah. So
right.
it's lyrically speaking, it can be anything really, as long as it has some kind of substance to it. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, there's almost some like progressive elements in there too.
Mm,
I guess you could say, and per your point, most of the songs do move at a rather brisk pace.
mm,
So, like you say, you're not really wasting much time. You know, everything's just
mm.
moving along, and
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And when I write the songs, it's without the vocals. The vocals are the last thing that we add. So I write the song without any vocals in mind or what the vocals do, because I'm terrible at writing vocal lines. We let our lead singer do that. That's his job. So I think to compensate when writing the songs, every part has to be interesting without vocals. So there's so much going on, and even in the mix, we have to remove a lot of stuff because it's just packed to the brim
right.
with layers and melodies and segments doing this and that, and then the vocals come and there's no room for anything because it's so fucking cluttered. It's,
Well, that's fascinating. So you write all the music like just without even with the vocals in mind, and then just give it to him, and then he
yeah,
just does what he can with what you've given.
yeah, it's much like, okay, this is the verse, and then it goes into some kind of bridge, whatever, and then there's a chorus, and then there's something. I don't know what to call it, maybe a second verse, something, but this needs vocals and this doesn't need vocals. So it's, yeah, let's see what happens. And I can see, I mean, the disadvantages, what am I even saying?
Disadvantage.
Disadvantage? Yeah, that's the one. When you're writing music that way, you get used to the flow of the song without the vocals, and then you add the vocals, and it's not always gonna flow as well because it changes the flow of the song so drastically when all of a sudden there's lyrics and vocals and all that. So it's kind of a, yeah, it's a lengthy process writing these songs, but it's fun. It's really fun.
So,
And
so are you kind of like the primary songwriter?
for this album, yes. I believe for the next record or EP or whatever we do, we're gonna have the guitarists do more of that their stuff too, because the things I write, they're very nice and neat and pretty, and bedtime story melodies, much of it. But we need some more aggression, some more chuck to the guitars, and I can't really write riffs per se, so let the experts do that.
So how do you come up with writing the songs? Because you said that you're the drummer and you're not really as well versed on like guitars
Mhm.
and other things like that. So do you use a keyboard or do you just hear it in your head and somehow kind of translate that to the page or?
Yeah, pretty much. I just sit in a DAW and with a piano roll and move dots around. Okay, that sounds nice. If it goes up, then okay, some strings, all right, and then a bass line, and so on and so forth. And that's, yeah, it's very much just in my head, and try to put it down without
Yeah.
getting distracted, because there's a certain disadvantage to not playing a tonal instrument when you're writing songs, because I can't sit with a guitar or a piano and kind of form the songs. I have to dot it in with the MIDI, and that can be quite limiting sometimes, but it also allows you to write beyond your playing capabilities, I suppose, because you're not limited by how fast or technical or whatever you can do on the instrument. You just put it down. And that's why when I turn over the stuff to the band and the guitarists have to adapt the things I write, they're just like, how the fuck am I supposed to do this? But it's not taken into consideration how it's supposed to be played on the instrument. It just
Right.
sounds good. And yeah, it's very weird.
No, that's cool.
I'm
That's
so glad
cool.
I'm just a drummer.
That's and that's another thing too. There's a lot of different instruments that I noticed on the album, whether it be the piano and like the symphonic sounds, which I guess maybe is done on the keyboard, and then there's choirs, and
Mm.
I think there's one song, it almost sounds like there's like a harpsichord. I don't know if that's done like on the keyboard as well, but is that something else that you just kind of hear in your head and you're like, right here I want it to sound like a harpsichord, or here I want this or that?
Yeah, it's much okay. We come to the end of the course, I think. Yeah, and then this needs to be a breakdown. This needs to go down or something. And okay, and write out a melody, and then just scroll through the different instruments. What sounds good? What fits? What are we looking for here? And then yeah, the harpsichord could be a thing, or the accordion, or a guitar, or acoustic guitar, or a flute, or whatever it could
Right.
be.
The
So yeah, it's
bagpipe.
just
You need to get a
yeah, but
bagpipe
there's
in there.
there's no good plugin for bagpipes. I've checked. It sounds like shit.
Okay.
It just sounds like this digital weird thing, and yeah,
Right.
it has to be some kind of convincing, because we're going for this symphonic thing, and if it really sounds like keyboards, it kind of falls flat,
Right.
and it's yeah. So yeah,
Okay. Well, it's
it's
good
not.
to know that you've exhausted all possible resources, that you at least tried to put a bagpipe in there.
Yeah, someday they will release a proper bagpipe input, and I will grab that shit. I'll write a
Right.
song to war. No,
That'd be crazy.
yeah.
So what are kind of some influences that you have? I know you mentioned like Dragon Force and power metal, but you kind of wanted to change it up a little bit. Did you have any other real like goal or any specific roadmap as far as that went, or just kind of like, I like this kind of power metal, but I want to make it like this, and
Mm.
that's just kind of what you did with it?
Yeah, I suppose there's a bit of Nightwish in there as well, and even to a certain extent some Dimmu Borgir with the big orchestral.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I haven't managed to write something that sounds evil enough to be like a direct Dimmu Borgir, but I
Right.
mean that could be fun. But the whole grand scheme of things, the big orchestrations, and yeah, bands like those, and of course Symphony X also,
Hmm.
and yeah, just these very melodic bands from Europe, and that make this kind of music. It's just great. So yeah, but yeah, I wanted to do something, because when I started the band and when started writing the songs, I was listening a lot more to Dragon Force than I do now. So I think the older songs were more directly inspired by Dragon Force.
Hmm.
Um, so I think there's a lot less Dragon Force and more me, I suppose.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's the thing with power metal. It's all about the solo noodling and all that. And I wanted to limit that and be more about the song itself, and put more weight on the vocals as well. I think the vocals get lost in a bit in the translation when talking power metal, because it's all about the fucking guitar wankering. So yeah, go vocals. And choirs as well. And we unfortunately we have a good singer who's very good at vocal harmonies and putting together choir arrangements and all that. So it's just putting him center stage, because he is very good. And when people are like, "Oh, that sounds cool, the singer is really good," so yeah, just get him in front, get him in front.
Put them
Fuck
out
everybody.
there.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
it's not an ego thing, it's just writing good songs. And yeah, and
Cool.
I think that the last thing I really think about when writing music is the drums. They're just supposed to be there and do their part, and be the backbone. And yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the other members writing songs, so I can focus on the drumming part instead of the overall song. Because yeah, I think there's a tendency, especially I mean for my own sake, I don't think I challenge myself enough on the drums, because I'm so preoccupied with the rest of the song. So
Right.
yeah, I need some challenge,
Yeah.
guys,
There you go.
please.
You
Yeah.
need them to write you, something like, we want it to sound like this, and you be
Mm.
like, well, how the heck am I supposed to do that? But you
Yeah,
got to
exactly.
figure it out now.
Yeah, but they're guitarists. They're all about the fast double kick things. Just faster, faster. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Blast beats. Yeah,
Double
yeah,
bass,
yeah,
just
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. We'll
Like
get
a
there.
death clock or whatnot, just as fast as
Yeah,
you can. Yeah.
exactly. Just destroy shit. Okay, I
Yeah.
will destroy shit.
Well, I don't think anyone can argue that you guys definitely created a really unique sound, right off the bat with the debut album. I think that's what has caught many people, just caught their ear just right away, is that, hey, this sounds familiar yet different at the same time. So that's really cool and really admirable,
Thank you.
that you've
Thank
been
you.
able to create something like that. Just,
Mm,
right. I mean, obviously it didn't happen like that,
I started
but
yesterday,
just with
so
your debut album here.
yeah, thank you.
Um,
I don't think we have broken any new grounds at all. I mean, I suppose it still falls into the category of European power metal, that box. But I like to think that we did something with power metal as a genre, trying to do something different with that, and not keep
yeah.
everything in the same tempo, and all the yeah, again, the themes with the lyrics and all that. So yeah.
Yeah, the sound is definitely, it stands apart, from most other in that genre. I wanted to one this may sound way out of left field, but like the vocals and whatnot, I don't know if there's any influence or if that's just the way that he sings and whatnot, but I get some heavy, like, Panic at the Disco kind of vibes
I
sometimes.
was just about to say, I knew you would say Panic at the
Really?
Disco. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so it's
You,
not just me.
no, 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 not at all. No, no, no. That comparison have been made 1,000 times, and he knows that, and he's fine with it. Uh,
Okay.
oh, that's so funny. And the more funny thing is, when we were looking for a singer back in the day, I had the guy, like, I can't remember his name from Panic at the Disco. That dude.
I don't remember
Uh,
his name either. Yeah.
who cares? But those kind of vocals, there's something, I like the sound of them. I didn't think they would fit with a power metal band, but I had those back in my mind. So when I
Yeah.
found him, it was just like, oh, that's perfect. God damn it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's just different, because when speaking power metal vocals, it is always these tenors type,
Mhm.
reach for the sky, and very high pitched and all that. And
Yeah.
I like that he's so different to the
Yeah.
genre. That's very nice.
Yeah. A
Um,
very dynamic,
yeah, exactly. And he's
vocally. Yeah.
very talented. Yeah, and he has such a high, broad range. high range, broad range. He hits a lot of notes.
Yeah, that's important as a vocalist, right? Especially in a power metal band.
Oh yeah, exactly. You can underperform in a as a vocalist in a power metal band.
No. All right, so
So
that's so funny. That kind of vindicates me a little bit because I've been wondering. I was like, should I even mention them?
yeah,
Is everyone just gonna laugh at me and just think I'm insane? But so no,
you're not the
that's
first.
super cool. Have you guys gotten a chance to, now that the album is released and you guys are just basking in all the glory and whatnot and cracking open all the champagne bottles and driving around in limousines and all that stuff, living the high life. Have
Millions
you
of
guys been
dollars.
able to like tour at all yet or play any gigs to support the album or?
We have a few planned here next month and April as well, and we suspect a few others will drop. But the thing is, with the restrictions being lifted, everything is just being booked at the second. And I suppose we timed it pretty badly in terms of everything being completely booked around the time when we came out. So we're so new that I mean we can't really fill a venue by ourselves. We have to be in support of someone, and it's just waiting for the opportunity, really. But I don't think any actual touring will, not this year. Mm, maybe not. But playing live, we want to play live, but it's not our main focus right now.
Okay.
Actually, we're in the process of writing a new album already, so that's kind of yeah where it's at these days.
Yeah,
So yeah, but
cool.
hopefully,
Yeah, that'd be cool to get out there and gig
mhm,
it up a little bit.
yeah, gig it up.
Gig it
Yeah,
up.
that would be nice. Oh, that's a cool term. Yeah, I'm gonna use that. Gig it
All
up.
right, hey, let's gig it up, man. Awesome.
Mm,
All right, cool. Well, again, I can't thank you enough for joining me on this
likewise.
here. Truly.
Mm.
Is there anything you want to tell the folks out there? Anything you want them to know?
Yeah. Well, thank you for the interest in our music, and thank you for supporting this channel. That's a very good outlet for this little niche of a metal genre. Uh, Hell yeah to the community, and hell yeah to the Power Metal Ranger, which is a great name, by the way. That's fucking
Thank you.
hilarious.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, speaking of taking time to come up with names, it took me a while. I went through a lot of ideas because I was like, if I'm going to make a channel, yeah, I
Mm,
got to get the branding just right.
yeah, and it's so obvious, the Power Metal Ranger. Yeah,
Right.
of course, damn it. Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, hell yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Yeah. So uh, that's Emil from Lastera, folks. I'm going to put all of their information down in the description below. If you haven't listened to them yet or whatnot, go check all that stuff out. Social media, the music, all of that. Check it out. If you like it, support the band. Come on now. So, like I said, all that's in the description below. Thank you again, sir. Really appreciate it.
Likewise.
That's all I got for you folks today. Catch y'all next time. Ranger out.